What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, look, we're halfway through the season. 4 episodes down, 4 to go. People have given it every opportunity that they could for the Rings of Power to tell a good story. You know, even if you're not going to be true to Tolkien, we'll accept some of the diversity stuff. That's what people have done. They've kind of just said, all right, whatever diversity, do you have a good show? All right, enough of all of this pussyfooting around. Do you have a good show on your hands, or is this just a waste of our time? And as it comes out and says on Forbes, yeah, it hasn't swayed audiences at all. You know, nobody's liking this show. Nobody's liking this show. The headlines are starting to mount up against this thing. Another headline from Forbes: The Rings of Power has inexplicably terrible writing. Okay, and this is a guy that initially started out saying, oh, the Rings of Power is good. I'm invested after the first 2 episodes. And then these last 2 episodes, and all of a sudden, this is his response. Another one, this is on Screen Rant. Why Galadriel comes off as unlikable, absolutely unlikable. I've been talking about that since the first couple of episodes, that I don't know the decisions that they made or who made this, but this was a terrible choice to make her this type of a character. She's very annoying. She's like a petulant teenager. She's insufferable. She's arrogant. It's just hard to watch this type of character and root for this kind of character. Basically, we just want her off the screen. Tell some of the other stories, but this is the central character. Yeah, so let's see what Forbes has to say about why they haven't swayed any audiences. Amazon has a long road ahead planned for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. It's a billion-dollar series with plans to allegedly run as long as 5 years. But even though the show has set records for Amazon viewership, it almost had to, as we hit the halfway point of season 1, it seems that audience on the whole have not been swayed by the series. I'll say that it has been swayed, it just hasn't been swayed in a positive direction. If anything, instead of going positive, it's been swayed absolutely to the other side. It's been completely negative. And these are real emotions and real fans. We're not talking about the trolls. We're not talking about the people that are like, I don't want to give it a chance. No, we're talking about actual fans who, they'll look past the race swaps. They'll say, all right, we'll look past that. Do you have a good story? They'll look past all of the broken lore, okay, the stuff, because there's people that aren't even hardcore Tolkien fans that are just like, all right, give me what you got. Let's see what it is. And they're like, this is whack. This is terrible. I'm not watching this. Find something else on television. What else you got? You know, you did all of this diversity, inclusion stuff to bring in all the black folks. And ain't no black people watching this. None that I know. Okay. They're all over there watching House of the Dragon, though. I guarantee you that. And this writer says, while I expected the various controversies the show's generated to result in a barrage of negative reviews right at launch, the weeks that follow have not brought any sort of relief to the Rings of Power. Exactly. By all available metrics, there is no place where fans have rallied to give the show consistently high marks, with scores not having improved noticeably the more episodes that have been rolled out, which you will sometimes see after the initial period of bombing and skepticism. Yeah, and the reason is because this is a boring, slow show that has no redeemable qualities, okay? You don't really like any of the characters, or you're not connecting to any of these characters. This is just bad writing, okay? What people need to understand is that when you look at a show like House of the Dragon, and you can see by the headline, House of the Dragon averaging 29 million viewers per episode, audience rises 3% in week 5. So you have House of the Dragon is just taking off, doing what it's supposed to do, right? Increasing its viewership. People are starting to catch on. Oh man, another Game of Thrones. Well, is it any good? You know, I didn't really like season 8. And then they start watching it. More and more people are tweeting about it, talking about it. It's on Facebook. You got all of these Facebook groups coming out with memes after memes. Everybody's like, all right, man, let me go ahead and check it out. And it's starting to gain more viewership. The same is not happening with the Rings of Power. Nobody's talking about this thing. I go up and down in my timeline. I go on Twitter and I look just general conversation. What's the buzz like? It is absolutely non-existent. And you can see by this Variety article, they've been updating us constantly. You know, after episode 4, there was a 4% increase there. And then we get to episode 5, there's a 3% increase. You know, they talked about episode 2. You know, they give us all of this information, you know, constant information. Yeah, show's doing great. We are constantly building. We're constantly adding a few more people. Every week, we're getting a little bit more of a jump. You know, by the time we get to episode 10, oh my God, that thing is probably going to bring the house down. That's what the Game of Thrones did in the first place, right? It brought the house down with all the viewership. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's making their speculation. What's going to happen in season 2? Let's get excited about that. Man, nobody cares at all about what's going on with Rings of Power. Nobody. They're just sitting there. This thing is just dying on the vine, right? And the reason is number one, they don't understand who their audience is. They just made a show without really truly understanding the audience of people that wanted to really invest in this show, right? Who would invest in a show about Lord of the Rings? It's Lord of the Rings fans. Go and understand those guys and understand what they want, what they're looking for, and then make a show that kind of gets close to that. Instead, what they did is they just grabbed a whole bunch of woke folks and diversity hires here and there, and they said, all right, guys, let's just get together and just make this show. We got the rights, we got the property. Let's just go ahead and push something out there and let's see what happens. Boring show, bad characters, special effects and music are fine, okay? But when you have a boring show and bad characters, nobody cares about your special effects. Nobody even really cares about the music, okay? You're just going to get a divided audience, people that are going to try to champion this thing on and cheer it on, and then a whole bunch of other folks are just going to be like, not for me, not for me. What time is House of the Dragon coming on? Yeah, let's go back onto the chat rooms and talk about that show. That's basically where this is at right now. And you can see where everything is stacking up for Rings of Power. Rotten Tomatoes, audience score, 39%. Metacritic's 2 out of 4, 2.4 out of 10 audiences. 6.9 for IMDb, and that's come up a lot, okay? That's come way up. And then the Google audiences, 3.2 out of 5, not very good. Amazon reviews, 3.3 out of 5. This show should be getting a 4.5 out of 5, or an 8 to the 8.5 out of 10 because of the amount of money that they're spending on it, because of the franchise that they have. They should be looking at, hey man, anything less than 8 out of 10 or 4 out of 5 is a complete failure. So they're failing, and all of the great reviews and everybody champion, oh yeah, no, Amazon is doing a great job. All of those people that are doing all that stuff, it's still not enough to boost this thing up higher. And this guy even says what I've been saying. Everyone does not like me comparing Rings of Power to the high-budget fantasy House of the Dragon, but needless to say, despite enduring similar initial race and gender-based casting controversies, its audience scores are much higher. The low scores are generally the product of either fans saying the show strays too much from Tolkien's original world, or just not thinking the series is very well written or paced with its long, slow-building arcs. It's just about the bad writing, and it's really the characters, okay? It's the characters, it's the characters, it's the characters. If you give me a character I care about, I'll endure all kinds of nonsense, all kinds of bad plot points, like what in the heck, what? All right, man, but I like this character. I want to see what happens to him. I want to see the outcome of this character because I enjoy this character. Good or bad, guys, okay? You can go either way you want to go with it, but you got to give me characters I care about. So far, they've given us none. They kind of give a little Elrond and Durin but for the most part, even those characters, they're just kind of there. They're the best thing about the show so far, but they're just kind of there right now. So anyway, folks, I don't know what to say about Rings of Power anymore. Like, this thing just has fallen flat on its face, and episode 5 is coming up this week. I don't expect that to be any better, but we'll see what happens. But go ahead, you know what to do. Jump down in the comments. Leave me your thoughts and your opinions. Why is the Rings of Power failing in your opinion? What do you think it is that this show didn't do properly in order to garner the amount of fandom and the love that, for instance, House of Dragon is getting? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. See you next time.